Welcome you all to the Value Educators Wealth Creation series. I will be uploading series of videos on different stocks based on their business operations, and at the end we will be discussing their valuations and conclude it if they are good candidates in our portfolio for long-term wealth creation or we should avoid them. So let's start today with the Rain Industries. So I have divided this business analysis in 4 different parts. Today we'll start with the major part of their business, which is the carbon products. So CPC is a sub part of it. Then in next video we'll go about the coal tar pitch, advanced materials, and so on. And then we'll see about the recent developments in the business, about the ban in the pet coke in India, and at the end we'll conclude it with the valuations and moats, and we'll check if that stock is at good levels or to buy or we should avoid it. So basically Rain Industries have the three business segments: the carbon products, advanced materials, and cement. For advanced materials, they have changed this name from the chemicals from the current year. So if you'll see, major portion of their revenues is coming from the carbon product, which is around 76% in 2017, and then the 16% is from the chemicals or the advanced materials, and the smallest one is the cement business, which is around 8%. So we'll see in which locations actually Rain Industries is based on, where they have the plants. So almost they are located in various parts of the world. So they have their CPC business, which is Calcined Petroleum Coke, mostly in US. All the plants which they have are in US. Then they have all the plants of CTP, that is coal tar pitch, in Europe, and one plant is in Canada. They have the business in India also, where they have one plant for the CPC in India. Another one is they are constructing it and it will be functional around Q3 of 2019. And they have all their business in India regarding the cement, and that is the smallest business, which is compared to the revenues of other two. So they have two plants in India regarding the cement business. So if you'll check the geographical wise revenue distribution, so most of their revenues are coming from the Europe, and then the Asia, and then United States. North America, Middle East, Africa are also contributing to their revenues by some part. And if you'll check the industry wise revenue, then you will see most of their revenues are based on the aluminum business, which is 37%, and their advanced materials are contributing to the construction sector. They are getting their revenues, and then the specialty chemicals and various other industries are also contributing for their business revenues, so which are carbon black, coatings, wood preservation, and energy, graphite, these things. So let's start today with the carbon business. So in carbon business, basically they are doing three different things, or there are the three different segments under this. First is the CPC, next one is CTP, and then it is a OCP. So CPC is the calcined petroleum coke, which is the raw material for the production of the aluminium. So it is like one of the important raw material which is used by the aluminium smelter when they want to produce the aluminium. Same about the coal tar pitch. It is also again a raw material for the aluminium business for the aluminium smelter. and other carbon products have different uses. And the last one is the energy. They have generating few revenues, very small, from the solar power plants. So we'll go one by one about these various different segments. We will be discussing about calcined petroleum coke, which is contributing around 43% of their carbon revenue. Then we'll discuss about coal tar pitch, which is contributing around 29%. So let's start today with the CPC segment, which is the calcined petroleum coke. So there are various processes you can see in CPC business, and the end users are mostly based on the aluminum smelters, titanium oxide. They use the CPC also in very small quantity. We'll see the distribution in upcoming slides. For the needle coke and other specialty materials, also CPC is being used. And for the CTP side, it is used in aluminum mostly, and then the graphite electrodes. CPC blending we will cover in subsequent slides. So these are the different plants and about their locations. So they have one plant in Visakhapatnam in India, where they have 2 kilns to produce the CPC, and they have other 6 plants in USA. In 2007, Rain Industries actually bought the C2 carbon from US, and these are all the plants for that business. Okay, so now they have named it as a carbon part of their business, Rain Carbons. So you can see here different kilns are there to manufacture the CPC, and around 5 out of their 7 plants located in US and India, almost 5 of them have the waste heat recovery system, so which is the one of the good thing. And total production which they can make out of all these 7 plants is around 2.1 million tons per annum for the CPC. And along with this 2.1 million tons, they have the separate capacity of 1 million tons of blending of CPC in India. So let's go ahead and discuss these things in details. So now we'll check about the process of calcined petroleum coke, how it is formed. So basically there are 2 types of the crude. The calcined petroleum coke, the raw material for that is a crude. Okay, so there are 2 type of crude which are available into the market. One is the sour crude and another one is the sweet crude. The sour one is having the high sulfur content, and the sweet will have the low sulfur content. So to produce the CPC, we will need only the sweet crude, which is the low sulfur content. And once these refineries refine this crude and basically the sweet crude, then your GPC will be created, and that is basically the byproduct of refining industries. So refining industries will refine first the crude, then GPC will come out. The GPC means green petroleum coke, and then these GPCs will be sold by refining industries to different clients. One of it is a Rain industry. So basically for Rain industry, GPC is a raw material on which they will do the process, and basically they will heat it at certain degrees, and after that they will manufacture the CPC out of that GPC. Okay, and then Rain Industries will sell this CPC to the aluminum smelters, who will use that CPC as their raw material, and they will manufacture the aluminum. Okay, So as I mentioned the different things over here, there are the different types of GPC grades which are available, like low sulfur content and high sulfur content. We will be for the rain industries it will be low sulfur content CPC, you can say the GPC is more useful. The higher content is not used to make the CPC. If it is made, if it is used, then aluminum smelter will cost more to make the aluminum because their power cost will increase. Okay, so higher grade sulfur GPC is used in various industries as fuel. To generally, which is the higher grade sulfur, they use it to burn mostly in cement industries and electrical power plants. And most of the GPC is produced as you can say with higher sulfur content, and it is used as a fuel. The remaining part is used to make the CPC, which is with the lower sulfur content, and for that we need the sweet crude basically. Okay, so anode grade GPC is the one with the low sulfur content. Its availability is reducing because generally nowadays what is happening from next 5-10 years, these refineries, crude refineries want to process only sour crude, not the sweet crude, because for them it is highly beneficial to process sour crude and they get good profits compared to the sweet crude. So if they don't process the sweet crude, then obviously there will be less GPC which will get created. Oh, and if there is a less GPC, there will be few problems for rain industries to procure the raw material. We'll see how rain industries is tackling with those problems in subsequent slides. Okay, so as we discussed initially also, CPC end users are mostly based in the aluminum industry, which is 89%. For the titanium dioxide it is around 4%, and needle coke 2%, and decarburizers are around 1%, and others are specialty market which is a very small 1%. So these are the basically CPC end users. Okay, so we'll check about the CPC production in 2017. So most of the production is done in China, which is around 59%. Then in North America around 17%, and so on. So major part is played by the China, as we can see in this pie chart and the bar diagram also. And then subsequently North America and Europe, they are producing 17.1 and 10.1% of the total production. So in 2017 total production of CPC was around 28.7 million metric tons. Okay, we will be studying about the industry because as an investor we need to know about these things and how they are changing and creating us any opportunity to enter or exit into the business. Okay, so this is the some bar chart representing how much CPC is produced into the overall world. So it started around 26.9 million metric ton in 2016, and industry analysts are expecting it to go around 33.3 million metric ton till 2022. So the red one is the demand and the blue one is the production. So we are expecting around 3% CAGR growth into this. So accordingly almost demand and your production are increasing subsequently in future years. for the total CPC which is produced in the world. So here, as we can see, the world anode grade GPC demand and supply. So as we discussed previously, anode grade GPC production is reducing, and it is estimated that it will reduce further in future very hugely. So so that's the thing. The GPC will be reducing, which is the raw product for the CPC. So we have to see how rain industries manage this situation in future. Okay, so there are different factors due to which the GPC production will be reduced. One of it is the refineries wanted to refine only the sour crude, which is with the higher sulfur content, because it is profitable for them. So here it is indicated that the spread between the sweet crude and sour crude. So if you can see the difference between red and the blue line, the red one is the higher sulfur crude, and the below one is the lower sulfur. So the recently in around 2018, 17 and 18, the difference between the sour and sweet crude has increased dramatically, and so as if the refineries will process this sweet crude, they will get less profit, so they are not willing to basically process that. Okay, and that's the reason the GPC production will also reduce, because they are processing the higher sulfur crude. Okay, so now in next slide we'll discuss about who all can produce the CPC. Okay, so different guys actually can produce the CPC. One of them are the merchants, like the rain industries. What they do, they take the GPC from different refineries. Different quality of GPC they will get from it. Some of them are very high quality with very least sulfur, and some of the will be the some medium quality, and they will process that different GPCs, and then they will create the CPC out of it, and then they will sell that CPC to the aluminium industry. So the merchant calciners are rain industry and Oxbow Carbon. Okay, the refineries which are producing that GPC also can create CPC if they have the plants and everything, but the problem here is that they generally don't you can say create the GPC I mean CPC out of the GPC, because GPC contribution is very less to their total revenue, which is around 3%. So even if they will produce CPC out of the GPC, their you can say the revenue won't be increased in huge manner. Some of the manufacturers are doing it, one of which is a ConocoPhillips. And another reason why they are not doing it, because the quality of the CPC, the end product of the GPC, they cannot maintain it, because they will have only one quality of GPC which they are producing after processing the crude. The rain industries is buying this GPC from different vendors, not the single one. So they have that they can maintain that quality of the GPC. So generally these refineries are not willing to produce the CPC. And the last one is the smelter. So final guy who wanna create or produce the aluminium, he also can create the CPC by purchasing the GPC, process it and make it a CPC, and then use it for his production of the aluminium as a raw product. But there also the percentage is very low, Okay, and only few of the guys, Alcoa is one of them. I think Rusell is also manufacturing their own CPC up to certain extent. Okay, so mostly the merchants calciners are around 66%, which are producing the CPCs, refineries who are producing the GPCs, and then further process it to CPC are only 25%, and aluminum smelter are around 9%. So smelter generally, the aluminum smelter who is the last guy into the chain, they will prefer the better quality CPC, because if that CPC which is generated from the GPC have the higher sulfur content, then the aluminum smelter has to pay more, or he will require more power. So they generally don't want to purchase the higher sulfur level CPCs. Okay, so most of the smelter will buy from these merchant calciners like Rain Industry and Oxbow Carbon. Okay, so over here we'll discuss about the blending. So in previous slides I have mentioned you that the availability of the GPC is reducing, and it will further reduce in future because of the these crude refineries are not interested in producing it. So what's the solution? So Rain Industry came up with the one solution which is called as a blending. So they have one patented technology which is called as ICE, in by which they blend the different grades of GPC. So like they will get the GPC of higher sulfur content with lesser cost, and they will get some lower GPC, lower sulfur content GPC for the higher cost. They will blend both of them and finally create the CPC which will be still usable with the same specifications. So due to higher use of higher sulfur content GPC, they are not reducing, you can say, the quality of the CPC which is produced out of it. So they have developed this technology, and higher sulfur content GPC is available. There is no shortage of it. The only problem with the lower sulfur content. So what they will do, they will use only small part of you can say the lower sulfur content GPC. They will blend it with the higher sulfur content which is available, and then they will create the GPC. So this is called as a blending, which is developed with some technology which is called as ICE. Okay, so in India, Rain Industry have the 1 million metric ton capacity to blend CPC, and the GPC, different grades of the GPCs to create the CPC. Okay, and there are few problems nowadays due to the India petcoke ban. So we will discuss those you can say changes into the business and how it affected to Rain Industries and what is the solution for it. That all things we'll discuss. Okay, so in next slide we'll check about the what are the current expansions going by the Rain Industries regarding to the CPC business. So as I mentioned, they already have the 1 million capacity of CPC blending in India at Visakhapatnam, and now again they are coming with another facility, another production industry with around 3,70,000 tons per annum for production of CPC from the GPC. So now one of the important thing about this new, you can say, plant is that it is bit different compared to other CPC plants in India as well as in US. So all the plants which are in US and one of it in India have the rotary kiln. So that is the one of the method by which they produce the CPC. Now this is the bit different, which is called as a vertical kiln. So they are coming with this into the recent plant, which will be operation in around Q3 2019 calendar year. These guys follows the calendar year, not the financial year, because they are mostly businesses out of India. Okay, so with this vertical kiln, what will happen? It actually needs very less, I mean lesser GPC compared to the rotary one, and so that's why their raw material cost will reduce. So one thing is that they will need lesser GPC, plus this the vertical one will accept a few quantities of lesser grade GPC. Lesser grade means higher sulfur. So in both aspects it will be helping the rain industries. One of it is like they can accept the higher sulfur GPC, and the amount of GPC which will be needed to manufacture CPC will be reduced. So that is some new thing which they are implementing. Actually it is not new. The thing is the rain industries don't have any production facility with this technology. Mostly in China they are using this technology, and one of the disadvantage of this technology is it needs a lot of time to create the CPC compared to rotary. But according to the management, they are saying the CPC which is formed out of this process, there is a good demand for that. So they are establishing this plant. Okay, so this is the end of the first part, and I hope you have understood about the CPC part of business, that is calcined petroleum coke, how it is, how the coal, how the your crude industry is forming, crude refineries are forming the GPC, and how after the GPC, how rain industry is forming the CPC out of it, and then they're selling to the carbon smelter, aluminum smelter. Okay, so in next part we will discuss about the next business segment into the carbon segment only, which is the coal tar pitch, and the second segment, different segment, is the advanced material and cement business. Okay, so I hope you understood it. So please like this video and subscribe to the channel